Huge news! Insane real flying cars that actually fly in 2022. The Aeromobil. If you like sci-fi movies, you're probably familiar with flying cars. But when you look around, you realize it isn't possible, since there are a ton of problems and situations one has to think about to make one. But imagine if a company called Aeromobil planned to get rid of all these obstacles and bring the first flying car to the market in 2023. Isn't it awesome to ride to work in your flying car? Well, in my opinion, that'd be so cool. So, you want to know more about this car? Then switch this video to full screen and watch this video till the end. Hello everyone, welcome to Tech United, a channel where you can find everything about tech. And in today's video, we are going to talk about the real flying car that will actually fly in 2022. But before we head into the video, consider liking and subscribing to the channel, and also don't forget to press the bell icon. With that being said, let's begin. As the name implies, Aeromobil is a Slovakian startup that gained international attention when it introduced the Aeromobil flying car concept in the early 2010s. In 2013, a prototype of Aeromobil AM 4.0 was presented for the first time. Today, almost a decade later, this fourth generation model has evolved into the Aeromobil AM 4.0. And unlike VTOLs, electric takeoff and landing aircraft being developed, Aeromobil was designed to be a real flying car. It has already accumulated thousands of hours of real-world flight time in a real-world environment. So, does that mean that it is ready for public use? Well, yes, Aeromobil says it is ready to be used. eVTOLs are often referred to as flying cars, but they don't have anything in common with vehicles on the road, with the exception of certain common elements. As for flying cars, they are exactly what they sound like. Road cars that can take to the skies at the push of a button, or several, whisking the driver, who has now become the pilot, and one or two passengers to any destination they desire. There's nothing stopping it from being a runway. Aeromobil, for example, promises to land and take off even on grassy surfaces and requires runways that are considerably less than today's airplanes. The Aeromobil AM 4.0 was on display at Miami Beach at the beginning of December as part of Art Basel. And as part of the presentation, a string of previous presentations was held around the world, including Monaco, Paris, London, and Brussels. The company reports that a special art edition of the fourth prototype should be unveiled by the end of this year, and it will take 2 more years for the highly discerning customers to be able to choose one for themselves. For the time being, delivery dates have been estimated for 2023. Well, it is good news, but it should be offered with some context. For example, the initial release was supposed to happen during 2017, but that got repeatedly pushed back due to the same, still insurmountable obstacles. So, in order to become a flying car, it must obtain flight and road certification. Therefore, it is required to meet both strict aviation and passenger car standards. Even though Aeromobil claims their flying car will be easy to pilot and drive, to the point where no special skills are necessary, a flying car does require some training and experience. It also requires proper regulation and a legal framework. To run the flying car, infrastructure is required. If the car does not use existing networks, further regulation on how it can make use of them is required. But regardless of how we look at it, even if Aeromobil is able to meet the 2023 deadline, it will take more than 4 years before these flying cars are available for non-rich members of the public, regardless of how rich they are. And based on the figures released by the company, Aeromobil should make a fine choice when they're finally able to make one. With Aeromobil, you can easily switch between road mode and flying mode in less than 3 minutes by just folding out the wings tucked away on the sides. The car measures 20 feet by 7 feet with a 30-foot wingspan when it is in the form of a plane. So compared with a car, it is not so large, but compared to a plane, it is quite small. From the inside of the car, it would seem as if you were sitting in the cockpit of a luxury hypercar. The sleek design makes the world feel futuristic, while the modern technology makes it a sophisticated atmosphere. It can take off from a distance of just 400 meters of flat land and land within a distance of just 300 meters, as proved during the flight test. The vehicle has a hybrid engine with a turbocharged internal combustion engine that generates 300 horsepower. With this engine, the car can go to 0 to 100 km per hour in just 10 seconds. And not only this, it has an adaptive transmission for both forward and reverse motions. A single occupant can get an Aeromobil to cover 520 kilometers on the road, 740 kilometers in the air, and at speeds of 160 kilometers per hour on the road and 260 kilometers per hour in the air. A number of safety features are available in flight, such as autopilot technology and a ballistic recovery parachute system. However, the latest version of Aeromobil is in the advanced stages of test flight, with pilots reporting it's easy to fly and highly stable in flight. According to Patrick Hessel, the CEO of Aeromobil, the flying car draws inspiration from a variety of different industries to create a truly hybrid vehicle. He said, "Never before in history have the lines between art, automotive, and aeronautics been so aesthetically blurred. Part visual art, part performance art, the Aeromobil flying art car is the celebration of a movement that transcends time, space, and ordinary descriptors. I am proud that Aeromobil finally arrived in the US during Art Basel Miami. The Aeromobil is set to release for private buyers, targeting a highly discerning clientele. Its future plans also include selling the flying car for commercial use. Aeromobil is currently working towards attaining European flight certification, and once this certification has been obtained, Aeromobil should be able to obtain US certification. While the company has not performed nor announced any road safety tests, they are keen on reassuring potential customers that safety continues to be a main focus in the development process. For example, the document mentions a ballistic recovery parachute system for the entire vehicle, an integral carbon fiber structure, and an occupant cage, and the option to include autonomous flight as an option. And if you haven't noticed yet, there's still no word on how this dual-purpose contraption will be able to protect the two people inside in the event of a collision with a land vehicle. However, the companies have over 100 years of data about how people drive, use, and behave in road-going vehicles when they develop a new model. While the country is split into 50 different and sometimes conflicting states, it still has 50 well-defined and well-tested driver education programs. But there is no such thing that exists for flying cars, let alone flying as a singular activity. So, a person must first get a private pilot license, and there is no training regimen in place for piloting a flying car. So, it is likely that the development, testing, and implementation of such a training program will take many years on their own. However, that's even before considering the role of the government in regulating private cars. Moreover, even the best, most intricately planned rollout can be scuppered in a hurry once lawmakers become involved in the process. Companies working on flying cars are left to make their own rules and guidelines, so getting the government involved quickly can turn the industry from the Wild West into a bureaucratic grind filled with hearings and panels. So what if Aeromobil manages to get through regulatory red tape and start production of the cars? But who will manage their use and safety? Well, currently airport traffic control systems do exist for good reasons. However, in terms of a system to oversee flying cars taking off from random locations, such a system does not exist. And given the complexity of such an undertaking, it may be some time before anything resembling order and safety can be achieved. But all of that doesn't tell us anything about where and how people will be able to operate and park the things. It does not matter whether a car has vertical takeoff and landing capabilities. The mall does not have a place for a flying car to land and park. You may also find it difficult to fill up your car with gas depending on the type of fuel it uses. But do you think any of these challenges are insurmountable? Well, in my opinion, no. But there is no simple solution available to any of them either. There is a real possibility that flying cars could and might be commonplace in the future. But there needs to be a healthy dose of skepticism and realism about how long it will be before we see them in any significant numbers in the wild. However, Aeromobil expects the car/plane lineup to cost between $1.6 million and $1.9 million when it goes to sale in 2023. Like last year, Aeromobil also managed to get its first ad running. In the video, we are hearing big words repeated as bombastic music plays, and the focus is being diverted from the hurdles of actually bringing this to market by emphasizing the long gestation period and future benefits. To be or not to be is no longer the question. I am real. I am the Aeromobil. I am a new form of being. My DNA is the amalgamation of aeronautics and automobile. We learn in the ad. I'll give you the freedom to go anywhere you want, whenever you want. Imagine what we can experience together. Even if we put fancy words aside, imagine is all we can do right now. Anyway, what do you guys think about this car? Tell us in the comments. And that's it for today, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay safe. Peace.